Welcome to the Midwest Mogul Show, where we talk all things business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Let's dive into today's episode and make business enjoyable again. Welcome back to the Midwest Mogul Show. We have Ben Busha in the studio today to join us, talk real estate, talk life, business, everything. So you guys are going to gain some insights as to what he is doing, what seems to be working, what doesn't seem to be working. But Ben, if you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, we can take the conversation from there.
Yes, sir. I'm a real estate business owner, originally from Oshkosh, doing a lot of business in Milwaukee area, suburbs. Right now, focused on fix and flip, and I've done a wholesaler too.
Yeah.
Mainly just taking down stuff and creating good product and putting it back on the market.
See, that's kind of what it's about. So obviously, if you guys have been listening, watching for any amount of time, Joe and I, fix and flip space, wholesale space. So talking to other investors, seeing what they specialize in, what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing. It's always gives us a little bit more insight. You can kind of bounce questions off of one another and kind of go from there. But so you're in the Oshkosh space. We were briefly discussing this before the podcast. What made you make the jump down to Milwaukee, the suburbs, so on and so forth, just so the listeners, so Joe and I can gain some insight to that?
Yeah, I guess my main goal, in business and I guess working in the space is, I want to build something big.
Yeah.
And I guess the main reason I fully jumped down there is because the ceiling in the valley, the ceiling up here, the ceiling in out of game yet, I just feel like it wasn't big enough for the operation I wanted to build. So I think, making the jump down there and moving down there it's paid off, and I'm allowed to build up to the ceiling that I want to build to, as far as operation, as far as volume, as far as, utilizing my skill set.
And what does that, and you're probably wondering this as well, Joe, but what does that look like? Like, okay, you have goals, you have aspirations. Yeah. To what point are you looking to grow this, what you're currently doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the main thing with that is the unit economics and the ceiling of the volume I could do in the valley. Yeah. It doesn't allow me to invest in areas that I want to invest in, and like people and getting into way better tech and spending a lot more on marketing, because it just, from a business standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. You're not making money. So from that perspective, I'm allowed to. The market rewards me for bringing on more people, bringing on more systems, more tech, and
processes.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
It allows. Yeah, I get to invest a lot more, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm. And what was your background before you got into it? Because you're not very old.
Yeah.
Joe was just getting complimented before the show on.
And then I heard his age, and then reality hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because y'all are like mid-40s?
Yeah, just shy of that, right?
Uncle Crowley.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I never felt terrible until I started talking to you and the other guys, because it's like, I got in at 19, but I was more of an agent than anything. Yeah. And then whatever, in 2018 is when we started ramping up the investment side of things. But before then, it was just, I don't know, it was like I just didn't know what to do. So like your insight at your age, and this is a compliment by all means, is like to be able to build a business or at least have the vision for it at however many years old that you are is absolutely insane. Like that's truthfully insane. And I like, there's not a whole lot of people doing it. Like you might see some on social media, but in the Valley area, and you would probably know better than us. Is there anyone down in like Milwaukee metro area that's doing something similar to what you're pursuing right now, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple people, definitely my age. One guy specifically who's absolutely crushing. He's 21. I guess it's hard to find young people focused on wanting to build like operation and wanting to build like an actual business. A lot of people treat this as like a side hustle or, they just watch a YouTube video and.
Correct. Yeah. Wholesale a couple houses, bang, go spend it.
It's definitely rare to see someone, just getting into their 20s actually having that, I guess, dedication, that vision to grow themselves and to grow a business all at the same time. Because you're still a kid. I mean,
I feel like I'm still a kid.
Yeah, I do too. So it's honestly awesome to see, younger guys and girls just creating businesses, and that's something that we absolutely love because that's what, we were in that same boat growing up, and at this point it's giving back too and trying to help out as many people as possible. So
it's freaking nuts. Like the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, at 21, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at 21, like having the insight, whereas like I know at 21 I didn't have my shit together. Like I wasn't definitely moving out of the Valley area. I still live in the Valley area, grew up here. So doing that in and of itself, and then to start a business on top of that you can grow and scale and do big things. But from the deal perspective, is it something that you're looking at growing like a multi-million-dollar wholesale brand, or like what does the next, say, 12 months look like? Like what are the goals for 2025?
2025?
Yep.
I want to fully be out of my end of 2025. I want to fully be out of my acquisition and flip business.
Yeah.
My main goal is I want to start a debt fund.
Oh, that's sick.
Interesting.
And I feel like that's going to introduce me to a lot more opportunities, and it's a bigger opportunity vehicle for what I want to accomplish. But it's a short term, very squeezed goal, but I feel like end of 2025 I can get pretty close to that.
And do you want to, I guess, kind of touch base and explain to like the viewers what that actually is, the debt fund and everything? Because not everybody might know what that is.
Yeah, I guess a debt fund is you're basically raising capital from either retail, or I guess the vision I want is I want to raise from retail and create a pipeline of retail investors as far as individuals, everyday people, mom and dads, to invest in a fund where they get typically it's around 9 to 10% interest APY, and it's locked in for a year, and then I go deploy that capital and I generate the fund money, and I go So I guess that's my main vision as far as like a real estate career.
So what got you on? Because that's obviously not like Joe and I have had conversations about doing exactly that. Now we haven't implemented anything going towards it. We've been focused on the fix and flips, and wholesaling and rentals and whatever you want to call it. But what gave you the insight to want to do that? Like you have family members in the space, you have friends, or acquaintances, or what was the original vision behind that, or how'd you even come across that?
No, I definitely know family or friends in that space, but I was very lucky and I guess blessed to was able to get a corporate job at a very young age, 18, working for a credit union.
Okay.
And just I guess learning the business model, and you're making money with money. It's like the best business to be in. And I guess learning the KPIs, learning what you actually need to pull and manage to squeeze money out of money. I like that fulfillment a lot better than swinging hammers. And I guess
same.
And I feel like my skill set and kind of what I learned and what I know how to do is, I feel like I could scale that larger than a fix and flip business.
Yeah.
But I still I like the fix and flip. I really do. It's really,
But I just think like what I've experienced with it is, and what kind of brought us onto that topic. I know some of the, like, is it more or less a hard money fund that you want to operate, or is it like buy bigger and better properties?
The reason I say debt fund is because, I don't want to be ignorant to the fact that I know exactly what opportunity vehicles I want to be in. So a debt fund I feel like is going to open a lot of doors for me. But I guess the first thing I would utilize with the debt fund is a hard money business, just because I have the connections and I could like instantly create a pipeline.
Oh, exactly.
In like 30 days of people wanting money from me.
Yeah, it's insane.
and you just start showing results right away with those people that are investing in with you and everything like that. So that's the biggest thing is you don't want to start doing something like that and then you end up losing everybody's money, and you start out on a bad note, and no one really trusts you with their money at that point.
And obviously that's a very like long-term goal. And, I'm still disciplined on making sure the business operates and spits out a profit.
Well, and even getting to the point of like being out of operations, like that's admirable, because it's like that's something that like I'm currently working towards that goal, but it seems to be, and I'm probably my own worst enemy when it comes to it, because for some reason I get this fucking high of going out to the property.
I do too.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to give this up. Like I was on an appointment on Friday of last week, And the guy called and he's like, "Hey, you want to run on this appointment with me?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, whatever." So we went on it. We ended up getting the deal, signed the purchase agreement, and it's. But go for it.
I have something to that. My first actual high in real estate, first deal I ever did. It was a wholesale deal.
Yep.
It was in Waukesha.
Dang.
And I had never seen the property.
Yep.
I locked it up from a cold call. Mind you, all the marketing I've done up until this point, up until about like 2 months ago, it's all direct to agent.
I didn't. Shit, we're gonna have to talk about that.
It was working with an agent, and I made $35,000 on a wholesale without ever seeing a property.
Holy shit!
And that was my first lick in investment space, real estate, and that's from there. I'm like, okay, you need to build this where you're not going.
No shit,
because it's possible.
Yeah,
that kind of opened my eyes.
Yeah.
Holy shit! That was way better than my first one. I think it made like $1,000. I'm like, damn. The first wholesale deal was a horrible experience for me.
Really?
But it was actually in town here, and we put it under contract. So we put like 2 properties simultaneously under contract.
Yeah.
And the first one we ended up buying, taking down, flipping. We made minimum. We didn't even make. We made like $17,000.
Yeah. $17,000.
Yeah. After 3 months worth of labor, like we were out on the job
on
sites.
the flip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Then the wholesale deal, trying to find a buyer and like being absolutely brand new and not knowing anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. Now we're under contract on this other one. We don't have the funds to close on it. I had to renegotiate with the owner to get him to do a price reduction of like $5,000 just so we could make something. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm like, the buyer pool, at least down in the Milwaukee metro area, Waukesha, wherever, seems to be a lot broader. Like you have a lot more people with maybe a lot more money that are willing to pay better prices than what seems to be up here. And I don't know if that's the case or what your experience has been like that.
I tend to see people up here overpay for property. Where down there, I feel like there's a larger audience, but not necessarily people are like overpaying.
Yeah.
Like I could sell a deal up here and like I don't.
Yeah.
I could, and like I know they're not going to make money. Like you can get away with a lot up here.
Yeah.
Because the market's so saturated for, population size and whatnot.
And you just don't think there's enough housing up here? Is that kind of the cases?
I think there's too many larger players up here, and the unit economics of trying to make a flip work and a deal work up here, especially with rising construction costs and all that. It's just everything is so squeezed.
Yeah.
And the houses I'm dealing with, I'm doing larger remodels.
Yeah.
So I don't have to work on a very tight budget.
Yeah.
I'm doing, it's more luxury. I can actually employ a
Stick
solid
some money
vision,
into
and my gain out of it, like I'm making a lot more per unit, or I guess per property than what I'd do up here in like a resale of like 200 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where like
makes sense.
Yeah, it comes down to the price points. Go for it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of curious. So I want to kind of circle back because you had mentioned right now, well, up until a couple months ago, you're basically fully just doing leads from realtors. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So what?
I love my realtors.
Yeah. So I guess
shout out to all the agents.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to those and hit us up.
Call me
or if you anywhere that Ben operates, send him the leads. Send him the leads.
No kidding. But how did that transition, I guess, go for you going from the Fox Valley area and then going down to Milwaukee? Was there any sort of, I guess, lull time where you ended up having to reach out to more, realtors and make new connections and everything like that? How did that kind of work for you?
Well, yeah, I guess with that, so I guess backtrack. I started this April of 2022. That's when I started.
Okay.
And I wasted so much money and so much time trying to do direct to agent nationwide wholesale.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
okay.
So for probably a good year, it was nothing but hard lessons and like getting, screamed at over the phone. And I switched the business to focus only on here.
Yep.
And, now I'm even pivoting more to just focus on Milwaukee. Like I'm cutting out the valley and all that. It's just not worth it.
And from the agent perspective, was it like I know, and maybe this is something that you went off of, but like Jerry Norton does a ton of agent outreach, and there's a lot of other investors that do it.
I don't like the term agent outreach because at the end of the day it's not like I'm like just cold calling and like pitching. It's genuine relationship building, and you know, I have multiple people doing it throughout the day, and it's real connections. Yeah. You know, these people want to get coffee, they want to meet up with me, and then it's a flywheel effect because agents talk, agents know other agents, you know. So in some of these offices, like I'm like their go-to,
That's
like
sweet.
as far as sending out, you know,
distressed properties or whatever.
You know, you make money in this business by making other people money. So
100%.
My offer is basically structured where I'm guaranteeing the agent makes way more with me than others, and still giving the seller a good, you know,
price
offer. And
that's awesome. Interesting. I know. It's like there's so many different nuances to the entire business that, and there's not one size fits all.
And like, I've just really dialed in on direct agent for like a year and a half, and like really learned it, and like what not to do, what not, you know, what to do. And, you know, there's a lot of people that watch YouTube videos and they try to implement it.
Correct.
But if you're not systematized, if you don't have a good offer, if you don't want to communicate, like these agents will come to me and saying like, you know, this person just called me, like they're kind of scammy, like I want to work with you, like that. So once you start getting that effect, it's like, okay, this works.
And there's certain things that even as, like we've had some property, like I was telling you before, down in the Milwaukee area or surrounding, a little bit north, that like the deals that come in, these are on market places that people are wholesaling. And I don't know if a lot of your stuff was on market with the agents.
It's all off. Off market, pre-market.
So that's where
one party.
That's nice. Sick. That's like the way to do it.
Yeah.
But when
they touch MLS,
I'm
like,
smart.
Get that off.
Yeah, when they get on market and then people are trying to wholesale it on market, I think that can be a little bit difficult. And then I don't know. What I've always seen is like I Google the address right away and I'm like, well, it's listed.
Yeah, I mean, I bought one property in my career on market. I mean, I've gotten to a point where like I have an inbox where I funnel all my team members' emails. Like I have like 6 team members like sales dedicated. All their emails go to one inbox. In the inbox, I literally blocked Flex MLS. Yeah. Because realtors will spam you with that.
Correct.
And it's like, I don't want to see anything on market. Like only send me off market deals.
That's smart. Because I mean, we don't buy any on market deals. I know people do that.
Besides the one tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, we got one. One out of hundreds.
I know. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's just a whole different ball game. And I know people make a lot of money, you know, buying properties, you know, from just the MLS and off the market. But I feel like at least in our area, it's not possible. You're not getting those deals like you can if you're buying them off market and everything like that. That's where the money's made. That's where the biggest profits are. Yeah. So that's awesome that you are able to create those relationships.
And if you're a wholesaler and you send me a deal that's on market, like you're getting blocked.
Yeah. I don't even look at them.
Yeah. No, I know. It's so frustrating because you're like the premise behind it of like wholesaling is almost I don't even know if I like the term wholesaling, but you're finding a deeply discounted property that you're actually helping the homeowner.
Yeah.
Now, if you're unable to do that, or you're just, and I think it sometimes can burn bridges with agents as well. As you lock this up, you tell them full-fledged that you're going to buy this, you're going to fix and flip it,
right?
And then you're out there sourcing, trying to find other buyers. Then it pisses the agents off.
See, that's kind of where I only wholesale when I have a cash constraint or there's a shortfall in like my books or like to meet flips. So I don't do a lot of wholesale, but when I do. It's very transparent. It's very communicative, and the buyer knows, and the agent knows that at the closing, there's going to be a listing agreement signed between both parties, and I guarantee that because you don't want the agent feeling like they're getting screwed.
Correct.
Right.
And the end buyer knows before they even walk the property. Like, listen, like working with me, I get exclusive deals that no one has access to because I'm working a specific marketing channel that no one's doing it at a level I'm doing it. You have to sign this listing agreement, and that's the only way we're going to work together.
Yeah. So you're making them list, or I shouldn't say you're making them, but they're listing with the agent who's bringing you the deal on the backside for the flip.
Yeah, because my whole offer to agents is I pay you on the buy side and I pay you on the sell side.
That's cool.
I don't
double dip, baby.
That's sick.
Yeah. And like my underwriting, I underwrite account for that. I don't I don't make agents cut their commission for me. I don't. Like that's all corny stuff.
Correct.
Like I want you to make money, and I just do it in my underwriting.
Well, and you burn bridges. I think doing that really quick because it's like, as everyone knows, it's like real estate agents are commission only, and the good ones can perform, but even the ones that aren't the greatest, they still want to get paid. And the more you can put money in their pocket, the more they're going to bring you deals, so on and so forth. And Have you had, like, I know you mentioned previously, like it took you a long time to ramp up, get to that point of doing deals consistently. What were some of the downfalls in the beginning of like, fuck, I screwed so many things up? Like what were some of the hardships, so to say?
Poor underwriting, non-proper lead management, or just management of people, bad people. I guess that's just the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, deal flow and lead flow never been like a problem. Just kind of,
And when you say pour under, and like you put properties under contract that you had to back out on, or
a year and a half ago, I had no underwriting.
I've had plenty of that's like the worst feeling. Then you have to call the homeowner, and it's like, hey, I screwed this. I had one time a property up in Green Bay, and I thought we were going to be able to wholesale. It wasn't happening. And then this is just like having a decent buyers list, but we put it under contract at like 58 grand. So cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap. I thought it was cheap. And it was probably worth 160 fixed up. But even with that, we got all the way to the point of trying to wholesale. And then people were like, no, we're like 5 grand less, 10 grand less, whatever. So we would have not made any money. They were below our purchase price. So I called the homeowner. I'm like, hey, I unfortunately I screwed up on the front side. And then he was like screaming at me. And I'm like, I said, rightfully so. I had no, and this was years ago, but I'm like, fuck. Like doing that consistently that was, and luckily that was a homeowner, but still.
Yeah. I mean, I've made the most money when like I like mess up like that and like stumble forward and you just learn from it. Like,
correct.
Just, you gotta get first party data and like just go through the experience. Like,
oh, because otherwise it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then like what I always regret now, and it probably limits us to a certain extent, or limits myself. I don't know about Joe, but like I underwrite things so conservatively now because first off, I don't want to lose money.
Yep.
But then I want there to be enough margin, whether it's we take it down, and that's generally the scheme. We don't contract properties unless we absolutely could take them down if need be. Is like whether it's a last resort or if we can't wholesale it or something like that. We're not just backing out of the contract, but with that, we probably lose deals. And then I see other companies get them under contract. They're blasting them out at values that I think are insane. But someone's paying them. Someone's buying them. So
like they end up buying them, maybe 10, 15,000 more than what we were at. And then they end up wholesaling it for another 15,000 more.
I know.
It's like, where did we just run our numbers wrong, or were we just kind of smart? Because every property I look at and run through the numbers, I go off of, okay, first off, if, like you said, if all goes to shit, we're going to be flipping ourselves. So we need to make sure we at least are going to make profit on that side. And then after that, wholesaling, that's always the next key thing to do. So it could be.
And that's also why I like my area or the Milwaukee market a lot better, because there's a culture of like shame there. If you lock up deals too high and you're blasting it out, like people rip you apart. Like
that's what I've noticed in some of the groups down there. I'm like, there's like one guy in particular that I know is, I don't know, have you ever met, and I've never met him or talked to him, but like Ryan Patty, I always see in like
I love
groups.
Ryan. I've done he funded a deal with mine.
That's what, but he always like in the comments, he's like calling out these investors.
No, we need that. They need that up here. Correct. It's like some people's whole business models, especially in this, like I feel like in the Valley areas, they lock stuff up knowing they have to renegotiate. And
correct.
Personally, I don't feel like that's a correct way to conduct business.
No, not at all. And it puts a bad name on all of us that are doing it the right way, being there to help out these homeowners and not have to like back out of deals. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen to anybody.
Yeah. I mean, we've literally gone to the point of, we kind of know who those actors are, and we just sideline those deals and wait until that price drop, and we're right there for the sellers. So I guess kind of they're putting a layup for me because they get dragged through and they get beat up with this bad actor, and then I'm just able to come in and.
That's honestly
Well, that's what
we just good way to kind of put it, because you just are there when shit hits the fan.
I know.
Exactly. And they're like, all right, I'm here and I'm actually going to lock it up and I'll do what I say.
Yeah. Cause I'm a lot of these times, like I'm like, especially when I've implemented direct to seller and like, I'm, first or second to the deal. And, the whole scripting is, listen, you're going to get contacted by some people that aren't going to actually fulfill on their promise. And I implore you and I encourage you to, get contacts, get referrals from them. Because I can provide a whole sheet of realtors, people they can Google, that I've done business
like
with.
Actual people.
And when they call those realtors, they'll be like, oh, this, we've closed. This is great,
Isn't that nuts? Like that people are, what I feel bad for, and this is just like probably more of an emotional thing than anything, but the homeowner that gets their property locked up, like they're planning all these different things, and then it's like, hey, freaking 2 weeks prior to closing, like, shit, man, we can't do it. Like we contracted this, whatever, 15,200 or 20,000, and it's, I don't know if it's like, do you see that happening more so with newer wholesalers, or is it just even the experienced wholesalers that?
Even the experienced. I mean, there's a group up here where I've been burned on it. I mean, $5,000 EMD out because they locked up a deal too high. They didn't. I wasn't allowed access to the property. I got ghosted and like.
Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah.
You gonna call out that?
The seller.
No. We'll mute it.
Yeah, we can talk about it later.
No, yeah, I mean,
pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's the shittiest part, and I don't know. It's so frustrating because we go into properties and maybe they're meeting with multiple homeowners or multiple investors, sorry, and then you're like, well, for a fact, I know that we can't compete on some of these, and then I look at like one of the guys that we know has bought a lot of properties from wholesalers in the valley or whatever, so we can see their contracts. He's more than willing to share them with us. We're a really good friend with them, but on that side of things, it is like I see some of the language in there. I'm like. Why would a owner sign this? But again, if they're signing it or whatever the sales process is, obviously it's commendable on that side because they're getting them to sign it. So
it's
I don't
crazy.
Yeah, you have to be solution based in this business. I mean, if you're like people with low deal flow or they don't know how to market or they're just not. If you're bad actors, you're not going to get a lot of business. So trying to squeeze money out of deals like. I passed on so much and just you refer it out. You refer it to agents. I don't need to make money here.
Yeah. And it's just whatever the best resources. Do you have your real estate license or no? No interest in getting it?
Nah.
Not even to start a small real estate team?
Retail is not for me.
No. I do not blame you. It sucks the life out of people.
I mean, even in my business, I mean, I only focus on like when it comes to sales, like high level sales stuff, like I'm the only one conducting after it's locked up or on the real estate side. I don't even talk to sellers because that's not where my skill set is. Yeah, I can't.
So you're just talking to agents a lot of the time?
I have another U.S. based acquisitions and my dog. Like
damn, that's
he
sweet.
He locks up everything. He's a killer, bro.
That's crazy.
He's insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
he worked for Pineda.
Really?
Yeah. He's a
damn.
dog. Yeah.
Oh,
so he's got some experience.
Yeah.
He's got some experience.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, they have some deal flow.
I was going to say.
I was about to say.
It's insane.
But, okay, so you were doing agent outreach for the longest time. Now you're starting to do direct to owner marketing, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's all
now?
inbound now.
Okay.
We're just kind of testing it.
So mail, PPC,
no, it's
PPL.
PPL,
Okay.
PPL,
How's that been working? Decent? Is it? Yeah.
I don't want to air that out.
No, I know. Yeah. It does matter.
But I mean, PPL is just scare money, don't make money.
Yep.
And you have to up here a price per lead on because I'm in all the providers. I'm like 6 providers. Up here, literally nationwide. Like nationwide, if you look at the bids, Winnebago out of Gamey is literally in the top 3.
Insane.
It's like $600 a lead.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
I'm not paying that.
I know what.
That's what we're doing.
I'm like, I know what our PPC cost is, and then I'm looking at all these other markets, and I'm like, I manage ads accounts for some people throughout the country. Yeah. So I'm looking at their lead cost, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like ours is like 3 or 4 times higher, and the margins really aren't that much higher.
And why do you think that is?
I mean,
saturation, maybe.
Yeah, saturation. I mean, Oshkosh in this area, Nina, it's literally the number 1 rental market, or it's literally rated the number 1 rental market as far as year-over-year increase. So I think it's garnered a lot of nationwide attention, and you see a lot of growth in business and hospitals being built.
Yeah, demand.
It's honestly a great area for real estate. It's just super saturated.
Yeah,
and there's like the interest part. And Joe and I have talked about this a lot of times. Is like branching out into like the one issue that I have, and you can probably shed some light on this, is like we've always done in-person acquisitions. So we're out there, we're meeting with the homeowners, we're doing everything. and branching out into like Milwaukee or Madison or even different states. Like for people who do that, like that's where my mental block always comes in of like, is this even possible? And that's where I don't know. Do you still, is it all in-person acquisitions on your side in most cases, or are you doing
usually
over the phone? Or?
Like I'm only walking stuff to confirm no one's lying to me.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's after I lock it up.
Yeah.
So I'm locking up because, you know, you do want to have some room for a price reduction, and it's easier to price reduce after you lock it up because, you know, it can be like, hey, listen, this wasn't discussed over the phone.
Correct.
You know, whereas like you go in there in person, you walk it, sign the contract, and then you get your bids, and your bids are coming in high, or someone notices something on your vendor list. It's like, man, it's hard. It's a tough conversation to price reduce.
Yeah, that is true.
Makes sense. So you're basically you'll lock up the deal, and then is there anything in the contract saying contingent upon?
It's just an inspection. Yeah,
like due diligence period.
I mean, I think I backed out of only one contract, or maybe 2 contracts, and that was when I was doing like nationwide stuff.
Okay.
Like, I was just,
What was the catalyst behind doing nationwide? Just easier to find
just being
deals?
dumb. Yeah. Just, not knowing what I'm doing.
Young.
Young and dumb.
Yeah.
That's what, and we bought. There's one property, and I discussed this on a previous show, but we bought one on the Lower East Side, a duplex, upper lower, phenomenal area. Like
Where?
this was on Oakland, South Oakland.
Okay.
So we had bought that. We physically closed on it, and my thought was, okay, we can. I screwed up on the numbers underwriting. Yeah. But then I'm like, I was panicking, and this was like literally probably in the first 10 deals we ever bought.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, we just need to sell this place, get rid of it, not worry about it. And we probably lost $7,000, $10,000, whatever it was, which sucked. That was miserable.
Yeah.
It was a terrible experience. But hindsight, if we would have kept that to now, we could have sold it, probably made 50, 60, 70,000. And I'm like, that's just such a short-sighted look at things. But are you, like any of your properties right now, are you looking at for rental purposes, or is it strictly flip wholesale?
I have 3 duplexes I rent up here, but no, I don't want to. I like scaling business rather than a portfolio, and I'd rather, my skill set's better used in operation and business than like
managing rentals.
Getting calls from tenants.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, because it only makes sense to. I mean, you can outsource to third party, but I like having control of all areas of the operation. So
makes sense.
It only makes sense to do that if I'm like, 40 to 60 units. Like, so it's just not something I want to do right now.
Well, I don't know if there's as much money in rentals as what people kind of like what we were discussing the other day.
Yeah.
Especially just with the interest rates and everything right now. I mean, that's one thing that we're like looking at, rental properties, like it's really hard to find a deal and actually make the numbers work.
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest thing right now, especially in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the lens I look at it more from is like the cash conversion cycle on a rental is like one of the longest. You're not. Correct. You might not be making money till year 5. Whereas
at least,
exactly, Where you kind of build, you have flexibility with your cash conversion cycles, and flip is 3 to 6 months. Wholesales 30 60 days. So, that's I guess my main focus in making sure I have the right cash conversion because. Cash management's everything in this business.
It is. Yeah. It's huge. And that's a learning lesson. Like to even know that, like especially on the flip side, like we were, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
you got, I guess I want to learn more about your operation.
Go for it.
So I guess what's your team like? What operations do you have built
Joe and I are still in acquisitions.
Okay.
We're both in acquisitions on that side. We have project manager, basically 2 project managers, but we're heavy on flips and rehabs.
Correct.
So for us at any given point, like we have 6 renovations going on right now.
Yep.
So that's where we have and we probably have, I have the tracker up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the market or pending sale.
Nice.
So like with that, we're really, really heavy into flips but the cash involvement of that is insane. And then to sustain marketing, sustain payrolls, to sustain the business is like you're talking multiple 5 figures every single month just going out in normal costs.
Yeah.
And that's not in addition to buying anything else or acquiring anything else. So for us, it's getting away more so from that, like cherry picking the best ones, wholesaling the rest. But how can we scale up a wholesale operation to, again, feed the volume
produce.
that we need to do? In the Valley area, it seems like our cost per deal is extremely high, or if we're hitting them with direct mail, and we only do direct mail and online lead gen.
Yeah.
So it's
Inbound.
Facebook, Google. Yeah, exactly. It's all inbound. So on that side of things, it's if we can get a deal for a good enough cost per deal, then perfect. We can decide the exit strategy. But again, on that, it is extremely difficult to do a high volume. Like I know there's a business in the Valley area that they seem to do a shit ton of volume, but they're expanding outward.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's the only solution to doing it is getting out of the Valley and going further north, west, east, south. Yeah.
I mean, there's only two, I guess, in Wisconsin, there's only two markets. There's Northeast and Southeast.
Correct.
You know, and you can maybe split Southeast in two with Racine and Kenosha and then Milwaukee. But, it's, Wisconsin doesn't have a lot of opportunity relative to, like, population size. So you kind of have to pick.
Very true. Very true.
And that's what,
but,
like, go on.
Yeah, but I guess, like, your operation, though, so it's just you two.
Yep.
I mean, do you have any, like, what systems you got? Like, you have, outsourced employees? Like, what's that look like?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What's your CRM?
REI Sift. We run everything through there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything operates perfectly well.
And then
But we do like it's a lot of manual. Obviously, there's a lot of manual components to it. But for us, we've been able to do 5, 6, 7 deals a month for whatever doing that.
That's good.
And it's never like, I think the inbound marketing side definitely helps.
Yeah.
So for us, like we did do cold calling, we did do texting. Don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Don't really have a need, like other than, I shouldn't say that, with like pulling miscellaneous data lists and everything like that. We do have virtual assistants that help with it. I don't necessarily count them as like,
fixed
yeah,
employees.
exactly. It's just
Yeah.
miscellaneous stuff. It's a few hours per week or month or whatever the case might be there. But for us, I don't know if there's been a need to do that. Like transaction coordination, we can do all that. And that's probably, again, a mental block of mine of like delegating that to someone else is, but like Joe does his transaction coordination, I do my own. And it's fine. And then we just have the systems, like we have a custom built software that tracks all the properties, all the statuses of the properties, everything like that. So
everything like that.
What's it called?
it's custom built. So it's done through, I don't even know what this is done through, but we had a guy build it out. Have you ever seen the Good Faith Funding platform?
Yeah.
So it's same platform. Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
Same thing is done on there. So that allows us to track, okay, here's the offers, here's the current inventory, here's what we're closing on, here's where the leads came from, everything. So, and that's freed up.
Yeah, and that tracks
shit ton of time.
tracks all our closing dates, has all our documents and everything in there. So that's
Closing
been a
statements.
huge help because then everybody on our team is able to go in there, see what kind of tasks are going. We type in, hey, materials need to get picked up today. Send a notification to whoever needs to go pick that up, and then they get that email. And
So lead management's just on the cell phone.
In
How much, or is it like
through the
RSIF?
REI Sift.
Does it have like drips and whatnot, or
if you want to build it out. Otherwise, it's manual.
Yeah.
Like it's like, so with leads, like we're not always hitting them with like a text or a call or whatever, because I know leads will ghost you like 9 times out of 10. They'll ghost you. So it's always like, from our standpoint, it's either a video text. We're hitting them with the actual video text of like, hey, and maybe you have 10 follow-ups in a day or 15 follow-ups in a day, whatever. It's a sustainable amount to stay in front of them, but then adding the customized piece of, okay, here's where they're at. If they said they're out a little bit, maybe you can hit them with like a more frequent form of communication, but like that's it.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's allowed us to do
what
it is that we're doing now. It seems to be working. Could it be working better? Probably. Like that's what I would say.
There's definitely probably a better way to do it. And that's,
What would you suggest for us? Like from your side of things.
I don't.
Because I'm genuinely open to
I feel like everyone's definitely different, but I use a very intuitive software. It's called Salesforce.
Okay,
and,
I'm familiar.
You have to if you don't know how to drive an F1 car, you're just gonna crash. And that's like, it's has its own custom coding language, and like you have to have people where their main job is like focus on building that out, and because I run my leads. I run my marketing. I run my sales. I run my project fulfillment. I run my transactions. And
through Salesforce.
Correct. Everything, yeah. And I can run pretty much everything through that and have, custom build inside. It's like a sandbox software.
Yeah.
So you just build inside of it, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is
I have
interesting.
my phones, I have my texts. I call off it. I have a phone number there, comes through my phone. And
it's just all linked up. like call
Correct.
recording.
Yeah, you can. It basically allows you to build your business inside of one core system.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It is.
you
That's
gotta learn
interesting.
it. Yeah, I would not recommend it if you're not tech savvy at all.
No.
Like it's pretty.
Well, and I think that's my issue. Is like I get into things and I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. But I get into it and I'm like, okay, I don't like because we did there's like beast mode CRM through Podio. Like we've had multiple Podio CRMs and Resimply and all those different ones.
Right.
And I'm like, these are all so cumbersome and complicated that I'm like, I don't even want to I don't want to be in the system. And then with Sift, I'm like, shit, it's working. Like it allows us to
it's user friendly.
They keep the checks, have automated like presets in there if you want to, and then go from there. So it's I don't know. I just and I don't know. Like I don't know what I don't know. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, for example, like, just a simple process in my business. I upload a closing statement.
Yep.
Projected closing statement. I just drag the file, upload it.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatically sending to my sales admin, to my transaction coordinator, and to my project fulfillment, to my finance bookkeeper, what needs to be done, like automatic tasks and whatnot. And like,
that's
you
pretty
need
cool.
to do that. You know? So, on the fulfillment side, it's super helpful. And then I feel like the number one mistake a lot of people are making in this business, they don't have an actual like lead management system, like when people should be contacted on what date, and like, if they respond to your offer in a certain way, they should go down this sequence versus that sequence. So that's been huge as well.
Now, do you, when you're contacting with owners, because I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that afterwards, but when you're getting in contact with owners and you're meeting them or talking to them or contracting the properties, do you see that like your actual lead to contract ratio is better, or I should like, is it 1 out of every 10 owners that you're making offers on, or how has that been for you?
I mean, right now we're just doing a lot of PPL, like kind of testing the waters, like testing the providers. It's like 15 to 20.
Okay.
But the ones we are locking up, I'm seeing it's like deep discount.
Like super motivated owners.
Yeah, like 50% off.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's huge. Yeah.
And that's where I think with PPC, like people, if they give it time, like then it works. But if they don't give it time, or kind of,
I'm trying to grow quick. So in the short term, the only channels I'm implementing is short conversion cycles. So I don't think direct mail's on my plate. I'm just testing PPL so I can build out my back end to account for direct to seller and learn language and whatnot. But my acquisitions, like sales, is my guy crushes it. So.
Yeah, that's insane. You just have one guy in acquisitions right now? Or? Okay, that's sick. But it's as long as it's
it's a 3-call sequence, and like anyone that's actually wanting to sell the house, like the close rate's like 80%. That's insane. Yeah.
That's
awesome. So sick. Yeah. I know it's like I think that it's a testament to finding the right people and putting them in the right seats, because otherwise you're just shit out of luck and then you're trying to figure things out in the process.
Yeah, you have to delegate to elevate. Yeah. Like you gotta find good people.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
It's the delegation side that I struggle with that a ton.
Yeah, I mean, the thought exercise I do is like, what's going on in my business right now? Like I'll just randomly stop my day. I'm like, thinking, like, what's going on in my business right now? And I'll think like, okay, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. Like if I'm not delegating, like I'm gonna have to do each one of those individual tasks.
Correct.
So,
And you don't have the time of the
correct.
day
correct.
to do everything.
Well, and if you want to have there's nothing wrong with working a lot. Like I enjoy working, but like at a certain point, you're like, okay, I need time to even sustain what it is that I'm trying to grow.
Yeah, and a lot of people think like you delegate and then you just let them do your thing, their thing. But like, no, I have the pulse on pretty much everything going inside my business. I know, as long as you have consistent reporting, KPIs, and people know their, what numbers they need to hit. Like it's.
How'd you learn all this? Because that's
I mean, I guess just working in a corporate setting, you kind of just learn how to implement that. Like in big companies are big for a reason. Yeah. Like it's not a mistake. So if you're in a big company, they're probably doing something right.
Yeah, that's what they're giving you a little bit more insight as to the right things.
And then you also learn a lot. Like you see their shortfalls, you see their holes. So. Oh shit! But
it's the springs. It's the springs.
But yeah, I guess. So your team size, it's just you two. You don't have any outsourced back end.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like just so I have context.
For example, like all my sales.
Yep.
I have 4 people, like 2 sales admins that kind of do the admin work, paperwork.
Yep.
I have 2 people like relationship building.
Okay.
With agents.
Mm-hmm.
An acquisitions US based guy. I have an office manager in Pakistan that manages all the tech and finance, and then I have a bookkeeper.
Well, we have like bookkeepers, we have accountants, we have. My mom is actually in the office who does all the
shout out Miss Crowley.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But she does all the
and for all the snacks.
exactly. That's when we're stocked. Fridge is stocked.
Yeah.
But no, she does like the payment processing of things. But as far as like the sales, the in with homeowners, that's Joe and I.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
So we don't have. But what I'm wondering is the need for that is what I kind of struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Like what would be the point of hiring another person to like at the volume that we're currently doing,
Yeah.
hiring another person to, I don't know, fill out contracts or whatever the case is. Are these like part-time people or what?
No, it's full time. Well, I mean, everyone on the sales side, it's direct. Their activities throughout the day it's revenue generating.
Yeah, correct.
Not just
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, I have one, maybe admin that helps out with certain stuff, but they're there to plug in holes, so you're not stuck in like the
Miscellaneous
BS work.
things.
Like I'm only fielding inbound calls.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to do anything but
Yeah.
that and just close stuff. And my main job in the business right now is honestly just like raising capital.
Yeah.
And leveraging my deals to bring on more private capital.
Yeah.
Private capital, like
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It is. It's
So,
like,
so I guess in the walk us through like the process of, okay, agent reaches out to you.
Yeah.
You end up getting it under contract. You're like, yep, we're at this price. Sign the contract.
yeah.
Is that pretty much all you do? Then from there, you pass it on to everybody else or to your team. And
So
just walk us
pretty
through that
much
process.
what a typical sales cycle looks like for him on the agent side. We have, probably around. I mean, we have like 3,900 agents in our system.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
probably have around 1 to 1,500, 1,000 to 1,500 like active relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I'm not sure if you guys how familiar you guys are with like B2B marketing, but it's like the account ownership model.
Okay.
So like people are assigned accounts and they own that account and they should know everything about that account. That's how kind of B2B sales works. So they have a pre-built relationship. They're constantly working them. We're constantly, following up. Agent brings a deal to my girl Danny, for example. Danny books my appointment, puts on my calendar, says I'm meeting with this agent. I go to the property, I walk it, and I close it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. And I know, like, ahead of time, though, I know how many deals this agent's done this year. I know their volume.
Okay.
I know their exact,
And that's all your team's putting that in place on the back
Yeah,
side.
I mean, I have the tech side.
in this CRM.
Interesting.
That's like super interesting. What's your with that? Then because I know what the overhead of our business is.
Yeah.
Like, is the overhead significant? And you don't have to name exact
I'm not going to say
numbers.
the exact
Yeah,
number, but one thing
to grow a business.
One thing that really surprises people is, 4 full time, 2 office. It's the equivalent of having 1.5 employees here at $20 an hour.
Okay, that's fair.
But you have a lot more hours input, and you have
Yeah.
a lot more specialized people, and like you can build your business.
Okay.
So honestly, I feel like my overhead's
Minimal.
very low.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Interesting.
That's pretty impressive.
For the inputs,
Correct.
I'm getting,
I would
and
agree.
then the output that's generated.
Because that's what I know. Like ours is not low.
Yeah. Because I was going to say.
Because everyone's right here.
Yeah.
So it's like I know what we pay on a monthly basis. So yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
It just gives me so much insight. That's why like even having conversations like this, I'm like, okay, what can we do better? What can we change?
Yeah.
What can we implement to have a little bit better result? Mm-hmm. And that's where I think everyone has their own.
Yeah, it's their own version of it.
Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the best is, and that's teach their
there's
own.
no best. Yeah.
I know. So it's like with the systems processes in place, is it like for deal volume this year, are you trying to grow to, I don't know what deal volume has looked like in the past, but what is kind of the goal? And I don't know if it's revenue wise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like actual volume is pretty much like a vanity metric because there's people that will do, 100 deals this year, but it's
$1,000 wholesale
yeah,
fees.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really focused on doing large deals,
Spreads.
Yep.
That's sick.
and bringing in as many, like something I really pay attention to is bringing in as many partners per deal, as far as like capital partners, realtors involved, can I get someone to gate line in my EMP so I can raise from them later?
Yep.
You know, like I'm just trying to bring as many people together.
Interesting.
And that's something I really keep in mind too. But as far as like goals, I mean, you know, I like sticking with the fix and flips and, you know, volume isn't really, but you know.
But you're automating things. So that's kind of the, like that, more importantly than anything, it's like if the business is sustaining and you're able to grow it without your day-to-day involvement, that's huge. That's kind of.
I mean, I focus more on like the implementation. Being like the last 3 months, I think we bought like 1.6 mil in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you.
And
That's
just
awesome.
all flips.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I focus more on the goals of like what I want to implement by
correct.
when.
Yeah, and that's probably the smarter.
And that generates the output.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is with the flips, and I know I was going to interrupt you again, and I lose my train of thought a little bit. This, and we'll wrap here in the next couple minutes, but with that, I know where I was going with this. With the fix and flips, is it predominantly in, like within a 30-mile radius, or 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's all
like
suburbs.
Okay.
Like my buy box is pretty much. I know my buyer pools, right? So I want to sell to people who like actually appreciate good product. I don't really cut corners on my flips. I kind of do the whole nine.
Yep.
You know, so my buy box is pretty much 300 plus ARV.
Oh, no shit.
ARV, yeah. I mean, we're doing one in Fox Point. We locked up at 290. We're listing at 650.
Shit.
Oh, damn.
You're talking big numbers.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because honestly, it's easier for me to do one of those deals because I don't have to worry about like running a tight budget on a flip. Like I know how to create good product. So like, let me just put my vision in there. My asset manager, he's dog. Like, you know, graduated from Kansas, master's in architecture. Like
so he's just on point with everything.
Yeah, he knows how to make a good product. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Just kind of curious, like, so do you ever, I guess, handle the contractors and all that kind of thing, or like, what's that, I guess, look like on your end?
I mean, in the beginning, like ramping up asset manager, we kind of work tandem, but no, I'm hands off from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do they just, I guess, how many contractors do you kind of have working for you guys, would you say? Or is that stuff that he all kind of handles?
He all handles that. I mean, right now we're in the last phases of fully implementing it in my CRM. So similar to what we're doing on like the sales side of like acquisition and like, you know, making sure transactions are run accordingly. We're just building that in. So like whole project fulfillment, like I'll be able to see like, this is going on today. You know, these are the material orders. This is my 60-day, you know, cash cycle. So, it's getting dialed.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And do you feel like what I've always experienced, at least up here, with the house, like the average price point of a house up here is a lot less. Yeah, and that's where I'm like, if we buy anything with the ARV over 265, I'm like a little concerned because it just doesn't sell as quick or whatever the case is.
Really?
Yeah, it's our average flip property that we're bringing back to the market is probably 235.
I mean, all the markets. I mean, the markets I'm in down there. There's so many. I mean, relatively, it's probably only like 10 to 12, but there's all these markets where the average ARV is like 400 plus. Yeah. Like I'm doing one in a month.
Yeah, that is.
Probably the best market.
Yeah.
It's Elm Grove. Getting it at 325. We're putting 140 into it, and we're gonna sell for 700. So
damn,
it's nuts.
Yeah, you can do large.
Nuts. That's so foreign
and
to me.
it will go quick because the days I'm like it's common there. Like that one, the house across the street sold for 1.6 mil. Like
holy shit! Yeah, so it's a nice neighborhood.
Damn. So, and that's another thing is I know my markets down there too. I know like there's deals that come across my desk where I'm just like no. I see you can see the zip codes and you're like no.
On Serbia, there's some shit.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is like that's why we didn't go, I guess, venture too much into the Milwaukee areas because there's a lot of areas, a lot of pockets that are just not where you want to be working.
Yeah, median sale price is what I focus on.
Yeah,
as far as picking markets.
See, and that's where like I don't know. We've done what I think is more expensive. I deem is more expensive is like we've done some that are worth whatever 350, 375 fixed up. And like it's just it doesn't seem for us. With what we want to stick into it to get it to that value, like the return it's so minimal that we're better doing a quick.
Yeah. It's just there's a lot more commonality of those price points down.
That's interesting.
Area, so.
I know.
Yeah. Damn.
Well, anything else, Joe, that you have questions for Ben on?
No, I think I'm all good.
Ben, any other questions for us?
Should be good.
Okay.
All right.
Peace. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the
Awesome.
like and subscribe button. Remember to subscribe to the show, the podcast, the YouTube channel. Peace. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.